Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Lost Like Mike. I am your host, Mike Gonzalez, and thank you for subscribing, for leaving comments, and for sending messages in lostlikeMike@gmail.com. So this is actually my third time doing the intro. My daughter wanted to come in and do some, but she's super on the upswing of a sugar rush. I might put a little clip of it in here. But we had just come from an Easter egg hunt at a horse stable out out this way, and it was like a small turnout, maybe 20 some odd kids, and they had over 2,000 eggs. So it was just like tons and tons of eggs. And the long and the short of it, we got a bunch back here, and she was trying out candies that she liked and didn't like, and she'd take a little bite, but between that, the accumulation, she just had like a sugar rush. And so sitting here trying to film an intro was pretty much impossible. She was trying to show her green tongue, and just flipping out. It was a lot of fun, but a lot of kicking of the camera, and so hard to keep going. And did an early start today. I was doing yard work up early. One of the things that I find helps is to just have things that you have to do. There's no two ways about it. You have to do it. Then if you don't do it, there's some sort of consequence. Because then whether you wake up and feel like getting out of bed or not, it's pretty much a forced situation. So, and it helps because once you get out and you're doing something, sometimes you can shake that, that negativity or whatever is holding you back, that, the depressive feelings that you might feel, where you just don't feel motivated or whatever the case is. If you just, like, I was driving home yesterday from work. I was driving home on Friday. Man, yesterday went fast. I was driving home and I really didn't feel like doing anything. I was super just tired. Like I didn't want to do anything. No motivation for anything. And then, my wife calls and says, "Hey, there's a situation. Somebody really needs help, and they might get, there was some issues with their neighborhood community, that if they didn't do all these sort of odds and ends on their house, that they were going to have fines and all these, trouble. Maybe it would even lead to eviction, that kind of thing." And I was like, why didn't they call for help, earlier? But the point being that all of a sudden I was like, all right, I'll pick up this stuff when I get home. I'll go help. It was like, from feeling like I didn't want to do anything, and it's just having something to do for somebody else. Of course, by the time I got home, it turned out that they already had their situation taken care of. So, but it still was, it changed my mood from being like, nothing really to do. I can't really remember what I did yesterday. So I was doing the yard work today. I have this electric, I have an electric blower and electric edger, weed whacker edger, you know. And the idea is, I mean, usually those gas powered ones are way too much power for like a small yard, you know what I mean? And my thinking was, I don't like having I don't even like gassing up the mower, much less having to mess with all this other stuff. But the thing of it is I have this really long extension cord. So I have it at the house and goes all the way out to the street so I could edge and then blow everything. I have my routine down, okay? But also part of it is that the jack for the blower, the hole where you put the plug in falls out. And after like 10 times of it falling out, it gets frustrating. I start getting a little cursy, you know what I mean, a little agitated. And I'm doing this, the yard, and I'm, doing my progress. And then I look up and the lady from across the street was heading my way. She crossed the street and she was trying to get my attention. So I shut off the blower, and she starts asking me about a little circle garden I have around the tree and what type of ivy I have and this kind of stuff. And she mentions offhandedly that she's been watching me from across the way and had some questions and didn't want to interrupt, but blah, blah, blah. And how she was like recognizing that I do it sort of she's like, it must be relaxing for you or something that you enjoy. You work really hard, whatever. She makes some comments. But then I'm picturing back and I'm like, she's probably being nice about it, but probably for the last hour and a half, she's watched me, like Yosemite Sam, like frickin' getting all throwing thing, you know what I mean? Like, and indirectly kind of letting me know that she was watching. But it makes me think, it reminds me what I maybe a couple episodes ago I talked about it, but there was one point where I said, you really got to be aware of that anger, that sort of accumulates, right? Like I was coming off the interstate on this ramp, and a car was at the light a little bit ahead of me, and this guy was just beating up his steering wheel and just angry, just bashing it, and just very dramatic with his hands, and he's pounding. And I remember thinking, like, how ridiculous we look when we're, and a lot of times you can't control it. I mean, people have said things to me, and instantaneously I just, get to that headspace where just that anger is there, but watching him, like, that kind of thing, it's that idea that, and look, I don't really care necessarily. I don't care necessarily what people think. That's not where this is coming from. It's more like, it's that idea you don't want to show that side of yourself. You know what I mean? The people always say, how they're, so that dude, he's for real, man. He's real. He don't have no filter. He'll just tell you like it is, and he's just, I I don't think that that's cool either. I think that if you have a certain amount of reservation and respect for certain situations in the presence of certain people, that's no less real than somebody who doesn't care and has no respect or reverence for the people they're in front of. One doesn't make it any more real than the other. You know what I'm saying? If I really want to tell you something, I get it. Okay? I get it. Is it real for me to not tell you, or to tell you, based on whether I care about what happens in that situation? That's, I guess, the ultimate point. You know what I mean? It's a heavier way of looking at that. And, hot dog if I could articulate this better, but, because sometimes it's just a rude person who just says whatever they're thinking to you with no regard for you. Like, it doesn't make me any less real because I take a minute before I blurt out whatever's on my mind. Doesn't mean I'm not honest or not forthcoming, or maybe it doesn't, but you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't. Sometimes that just means that person's a real jerk. Doesn't mean that they're real or real. It doesn't take any talent to be rude and insensitive to the person that you're speaking to. I'm just telling like it is. I'm just being real. No, you're being a narcissist who doesn't. You can't even fathom or take into account the emotions and the reactions of the people around you. You're so two-dimensional that all you see is your own steps through the world, and not how they affect or impact anybody else. I think that makes you less evolved, in my opinion. Wow, I don't even know where that came from or what that's about. So anyway, I did one of those things where I don't even know if it's a bold move in the right direction or not, but I moved my entire weight bench into this room where I have the studio. One of those kind of like no excuses. It's right there. Hit the bench every day. I'm signing up for this, 30 days to a 5K program, trying to whip myself into shape. It's funny. I was talking about this last week about signing up for these 5Ks in the pursuit of trying to like jumpstart a healthy life, living healthy habits and all this kind of stuff. But the funny thing is, I've done a couple of them. I did one, this buffalo, whenever, I don't know what it was about, but it had a buffalo in it. And I was trashed for a week afterwards. I mean, just beat up. And I finished it, but in my age demographic, I think I was like, I wasn't dead last, but I was pretty high up there, like, or how you say, pretty far back from the top times within my age group. But it was enough to make me sort of like, I wasn't embarrassed, but I wasn't proud. I just was like, oh, I did it. I accomplished it. But you do enough of them, and it's sort of, you have that other perspective. Like either A, I'm gonna get in shape and I'm gonna do really well, and maybe it'll be a boost in the right direction. Or B, I'm gonna be trashed for a week and I'll be all right. But I mean, I'll get through it. There's this lady that I work with. I think she's in her early 70s. And she used to do marathons. I mean, I think I talked about it early on in this podcast, but I mean, inevitably she's not doing that currently, but yeah, I mean, the makes the 5K look like nothing, but I should be inspired by things like that and kind of buckle down, but and I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna do this 30 days to 5K program, because I mean, it's no fun when you're, sometimes when you're like last time, okay, at that Buffalo one, it was raining. It was like this constant drizzle, which just the water weighed down my clothes, and I think I mentioned about having the heavy stuff. By the end of it, I was just carrying an extra bunch of weight in water, but there's a moment that comes when you're at the starting line and there's like all these people around, and it feels like that point where you get on the roller coaster, where in the line for the roller coaster, where it's like chickens can exit here, and after this there's no turning back. Like, you just have to do it. And it's equal parts exciting and equal parts terrifying, where I think it was, you always hear about these guys keeling over on the treadmill, or I just don't. I mean, I listen to my body pretty well. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna exert myself if I feel like, if my BPMs are, if I'm going too much. I know enough to just chill out for a minute and not, but at the same time, it's like you can't use that for an excuse for everything. You know what I mean? You got to kind of push yourself a little bit. What I'm laughing about is that I signed up for basketball. I mean, I literally haven't touched a basketball in years. I have a brand new one that I got for Father's Day. Don't ask. But I put air in it, and it felt so foreign. But yeah, I signed up. I don't know why I signed up for that one. In my mind's eye, I see this. I just want to make it to the semifinals of the, and I'm probably only picturing my department as if like they don't have all these young guys that are in these other departments that are just going to come in here and run circles around me. Do you ever feel like, sometimes I feel like I do things like I'm in the writing room of a sitcom. It's like, okay, what do we got going for us this week? All right, we're going to go ahead and sign up for a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. That's what this episode's going to be about. And you're going to be really out of shape. And why don't you wear a headband? It'll be funnier. Okay, cool. Yeah. Maybe you'll wear your compression socks all the way up to your knees. Perfect. And you want to also sign up for a 5K. That's the week after. Perfect. Beautiful. It's like that, like you sign up for these things to do and let the comedy ensue. You know what I mean? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that's what it is. Like, oh, let's decide to move your bike inside the house and your weight bench and try to navigate the room to set up for your podcast. It'll be hilarious. Make sure all the cameras are on. Did you get that when you hit your knee real hard into the weight bench, and you stumped your toe on the barbell. Perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. So I wonder if y'all feel like that sometimes. You like, I know better. Like, for example, I'm doing this live show with some guys. We're gonna do this rock band live show, and I mean, I can already tell you. I mean, it's like I already know it's gonna be different than what I expect it to be. You know, I have these vision. You have this one vision or dream that you think it's gonna be like, and then you have the vision that you know damn well it's gonna be, right? So on the one hand, I picture myself going up in this class, it's going to be like a festival, where you're going to go out and play these songs that everybody likes, and your voice is going to be on it because you're going to warm up real good, and you're going to practice, and you're going to be great, and you're going to go up there and sing these songs, and it's going to feel good. You're going to have that validation, and it's going to feel good. And then the reality is you'll probably play, it's Fiesta. So for those of you who've never been to Fiesta downtown San Antonio, Texas, it's no knock on the city or anything. It's a lot of fun, whatever. But you'll probably have like 2 or 3 homeless people wearing like a lot of beads and like dancing some sort of weird dance that has nothing to do with the music you're playing, and just these, and I mean, I help out this other band. We would play at these Fiesta shows, and ask somebody about it. I'm telling you, no lies. Okay, you have people that could care less what music is playing. They're just drunk, lit on something, a bunch of Fiesta medals or headgear or beads or some stuff, and it's an excuse for public intoxication. Whoop, let's go. So you're sitting there thinking it's going to be one thing, and it's not. And like I said, that's not everybody. That's not the whole thing. But, I've been going to these. My father used to play them when I was a kid. And we used to go watch him play these festivals all the time. And, it just never. It's like, it's the way that I feel that people would feel about flying. See, I've never flown before. So the idea of getting on an airplane is so foreign and so weird and terrifying, and has all these levels to it that I don't really know. But going like downtown for, Fiesta or some sort of like, festival type of thing. I've been to so many, and it's never been anything more than that. It's secretly one of my big dreams, though, is to play like those giant, like the ones in Europe and stuff. Like, I keep wanting to say Glassberry, but I don't think that's the right word. That's the one in Ireland, I think. Whatever. But you've ever seen a band play at these like Wembley Stadium or like these just giant shows, and everybody knows the songs, and they're just it's a celebration of that band for that night. That's such a beautiful thing when you're experiencing the music that you love of that band with like 100,000 people that really care. look, I don't have any delusions. I went to Ozfest and watched people just walking out after a long day at the festival, and Ozzy was just getting ready to get started. It's like literally that's the name of this festival that you're at, that you came to see, and by the droves you all are leaving and not even watching this dude sing. It's crazy. They were leaving. I remember one festival they were leaving while Smashing Pumpkins was playing, and it's like, y'all realize that Smashing Pumpkins, like, when are y'all gonna see them again? It's ridiculous. But I never understood all that. I don't frequent enough live shows to like know the etiquette of that end of it. It's ironic because I love performing, but I hate being, like, for the most part, my experiences in the audience. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that, but secretly it's a dream of mine, is to perform in that sort of venue, that sort of dynamic. But anyway, so I'm about to play a bunch of these festival shows, and I have this, and one of them is going to be rock music. The rest of them are going to be a variety band, sort of cover band style, that I'm helping out with one instrument or another, or singing and helping out. But it's just yet another thing that I've signed up, and the comedy will ensue. You know what I mean? I'm really trying to proactively take a different stance this year. I'm really trying to get in shape and do all the rehearsals I can, and get all the give 100% effort, right? But you know, once I signed up, it's like, then you hear all these rumblings about, well, we really can't get together for too many rehearsals. Well, we really can't do this weekend. Okay, so what is this going to be? Some kind of crap show? You know what I mean? Like, what are we really doing here? Is this going to be good or not? Natural talent will only take everybody so far, and other than that, you know, it's going to be. It could go either way. It'd be a nightmare or not. But yeah, I mean, that's just. If you ever feel like your life is the Truman Show, or like some kind of. So I guess this would be the commentary part, where like it would be interlaced with montages of like the things that I do, and I would come here on camera and sort of recap the ridiculousness of my day-to-day. Fair enough. Anyway, I appreciate the comments and the different things regarding the shorter durations, and I know that, you know, as far as podcasts are concerned, the average is between that time, and people don't really have. I was recognizing that a lot of the stories that I was telling were in the second half of the show, and people weren't. They would let me know that in some instances that they weren't getting to the second half. You know, time constraints and so on, that their commutes were done before then, or what have you. So I'll try to go back and edit some of the earlier episodes, to kind of give a little bit more of a give shorter versions to check out on different ones. But anyway, I had some other ones that I was going to talk about today, but I'm not sure. I think that we're running out the halfway mark, so the 30-minute mark, I mean. So we'll get into that next week, and which next week is Easter Sunday. We didn't go to church today because the church was gathering. One church was gathering here for this Easter egg hunt, and they have all these like Bible quotes and the eggs and I don't know if we're going to a church on Saturday or some other day because they said it gets ridiculous. So if so, I'll have more time to hang out and we'll talk. Either way, I will see you next week and we'll visit then. Thank you all for visiting. Be sure to subscribe, to send some subject suggestions to lostlikemike@gmail.com, and for guests and so on. We'll talk soon, all right? Thank you. Bye. Take care.